So we still have another weekend of games before we really know where everyone is. So let's do a trade deadline, buy or sell or stand pat. We will start with the Dallas Cowboys. Should they buy? Should they sell? And if so, where should they be looking?
I see them selling, and I see one thing. It's the Trayvon Diggs situation. Like the concussion at home, then to IR. Like he's on IR now, so it makes it harder, which I don't fully know what's going on there. But it seems like even from all the way back in the offseason, this just hasn't worked out. That, you know, I would see that as a situation of like, hey, let's move on from this. Like, this is not working the way we thought it would work. It seems like the whole Micah and Trayvon Diggs relationship and him being it just seemed like it all started to go downhill. With him on IR, it makes it a lot harder in that situation. But if there's a way, I would see them moving on from that contract.
Micah Parsons addressed the Trayvon Diggs situation after the Sunday night game between the Packers and the Steelers. Jory Epstein of Yahoo Sports published a story late yesterday afternoon. Shereen Williams sent it to me during the game last night. And it's like, oh, it's one of these, I hate to multitask when a game's on. I want to focus on the game, but some stuff I just got to do. I posted this during the game. Parsons is upset about the way that he believes Diggs was rushed back from his knee injury to play week 1. And now you got the concussion on top of it. And the concussion at home creates just kind of an awkward vibe to the whole thing. But we'll defer to the story. There is a bad word in the story that, depending upon my mood, I would or wouldn't say on this show. But Micah Parsons not happy with the Cowboys. And I would imagine Trayvon Diggs isn't happy with the Cowboys. You know, I'm going to say sell in a different way. Because the whole concept of success when you're managing assets is to buy low and to sell high. And if they want to sell high, and if they're being realistic about who they are and what they can afford over the long haul and the contracts they've already got in place, they should sell George Pickens. They should maximize the return. Because what are they going to get for George Pickens later? Are they going to pay George Pickens $35 million a year? Because you know he's going to want it. We've seen enough flashes to forget all about the issues in Pittsburgh. The best you're ever going to get from George Pickens may be right now, as you're 3-4-1, as the season may be going sideways, whether it's an immediate player to help on defense or whether it's another significant draft pick. You gave up a 3 to get him. Could you turn it into a 1? I don't know, but I would explore it because, Devin, I think the Cowboys are going to have a hard time paying George Pickens. Now, it may just be they ride it out and they tag him and trade him after the season, which is what I think they wanted to do with Micah Parsons, frankly. Get through this season and then trade him after the season because the picks we got are still future picks. There's no draft during the season. Mm-hmm. So that's a guy to at least consider because maybe you could dupe someone who might be interested in A.J. Brown. And reportedly multiple teams, and I've heard different rumors about teams that want A.J. Brown. They can't get A.J. Brown. Maybe they swing back around to George Pickens, and you can get him for more than you ever would get under other circumstances.
I actually like that idea. I think for them, they're not a Super Bowl contender. So if you do that, it allows you, and I don't know if this might be one of the best versions we're going to get of George Pickens. Right before the money's going to come, he's found a happiness to playing in Dallas. One of my buddies, the assistant wide receiver coach, he's talked about his growth. He's learning the whole system over there in Dallas. Like, he's really playing at a high level, and it seems like it's all working out. So I do think, is there a feeling for Dallas of let's try to make this work? Because as far as I know, it's all happy off the field as well with George Pickens. So I do wonder if there is a feeling of we can convince this guy to stay here at this price tag that maybe they are willing to pay. I do wonder that.
I know who your buddy in Dallas is. He's my buddy too. He came running over to me before week 1 with the hair all the way up here. And I'm looking around like, why is he running at me? And he was so nice.
He loves your show.
Oh my God, it was great. Taekwon, it was great. Because, anytime you're in a setting like that, it's like, is he like, am I in between him and like the person he's really running over to with the big smile on his face? But it was great to see him in Philly God, it's already been 8 weeks ago. Okay, Baltimore Ravens. Should they buy? Should they sell? Should they stand pat?
I think the Ravens should buy. You have a team that is meant to be in the Super Bowl. You meant to be a contender. Buy what you need. Right now, you need guys on defense. Is there a pass rusher that you have the ability to get that's a game changer? If there's a guy that can come in and help Mike Green and help Kyle Van Noy and these different guys, you traded away Oweh. So can we get a guy in here that is just a prolific pass rusher? We've already brought up Max Crosby's name. Is there a guy like that you can bring in and be a huge difference maker for that defense?
Yeah, I think you're right. They need help defensively. I said before the season when Micah Parsons was available, and Jerry Jones later said he could get no traction with any AFC teams. I don't know why the Bills and the Ravens weren't at the front of the line to try to get Micah Parsons. Now, with everything that's gone on in Baltimore, who knows, the Lamar Jackson injury, but you got to go back and restart the season from the beginning. Maybe the season plays out differently if you have Micah Parsons as of week 1. Maybe you don't blow a 15-point fourth quarter lead to the Buffalo Bills week 1, and maybe the season has a much different vibe to it. You don't lose to the Lions week 3. You don't lose to the Chiefs week 4, and everything else moves in a different direction. All right, we're going to move in a different direction. I missed the fact that there was one more team to discuss. We were going to just move on, but given the team that's involved in this exercise of buy, sell, or stand pat, had to circle back around because they're back. The Patriots, winners of 5 in a row, after a 1-2 start, somehow losing to the Las Vegas Raiders. How now? That is going to be one of those we look at the end of the year and say, is that right? The Raiders beat the Patriots? The 2-15 Raiders beat the Patriots? The Super Bowl champion Patriots? I'm kidding about both of those. I don't think the Raiders are going to be 2-15, and I'm not ready to crown the Patriots. But, Devin, given where they are right now, at 6-2, 5 straight wins, buy, sell, or stand pat?
I think they buy, and I think there's been this talk about them like needing a guy at receiver, and this. I think the offense and Josh McDaniels and they've shown they can spread the ball and do different things. I think if they do buy on the offensive side, I think they buy at the running back position. I think if there's a guy that they fall in love with on another team that they think, hey, it's going to protect the ball, is going to give us a different type of feeling from the running back position, I could see that. Other than that, I think they try to get a game changer on defense, whether that's a guy in the secondary, whether that's like a pass rush / like linebacker, outside linebacker role that can give them a little bit more versatility. I can see that. Like, I think they have Chase on, they have Harold Landry on the edge that they like, but I'm not sure they're in love with anybody behind those guys. So I could see them wanting to throw a third guy in the mix there. Defensively, because they still need a piece that they want to actually be serious about competing with some of the top teams in the AFC.
And, there was some steam in the offseason, not much, but there was some that the Patriots were interested in trying to pry A.J. Brown away from the Eagles. And Mike Vrabel coached A.J. Brown in Tennessee. Mike Vrabel gave us the unforgettable neck twitch when John Robinson traded A.J. Brown to the Eagles during the draft, and they used the pick that they acquired in that moment from the Eagles to get Treylon Burks, and that obviously did not work out. That's not a seamless replace one piece of the machine and put another piece in. Yeah. And I mentioned A.J. Brown because, I saw, and the Sunday Splash reports, they now actually start on Saturdays because the folks who are in competition to be the first with some new nugget that we don't already know, they want to get ahead of the competition. So Sundays now, Saturday evening or Saturday afternoon. Hell, at some point it's just going to be Sunday for the next week. But Adam Schefter reported, and this was kind of a wolf in sheep's clothing as I analyzed it. Now, I'm always careful not to try to out someone's sources, but when you do this for 25 years, you start to understand the patterns of how this all works. And the headline is, Eagles not expected to trade A.J. Brown. Okay, fine. Seemed like weird timing to put that out there. Like, I'd been working that story before the Vikings game as a possible nugget for Football Night in America if there was another rough performance by the Eagles and A.J. Brown was frustrated. Like, I was checking around. Could he be? No. So I see that headline. It's like, well, yeah, he just had 2 touchdowns. Like, everything's fine now. Like, why are you telling me? That was my first reaction. Why the hell are you telling me now that he's not expected to be traded? Then you start reading it. I think the Eagles are trying to create a blockbuster market without doing the things that you would do. They don't want to be perceived as shopping A.J. Brown, but they don't want to slam the door on someone calling them up with an offer that they won't refuse. And when you consider all the teams in the AFC that could potentially want him, the Patriots, the Colts, the Steelers, although right now, save your draft picks, Pittsburgh. It may not make a difference unless he's going to play defense. The Broncos, the Chargers. Like, you could create a frenzy. You just get the Bills and Patriots in a tug of war for A.J. Brown. I really look at that. I look at that and I say the Eagles are willing to listen because it says that in the story. I think the Eagles are trying to spark something without ever creating the issue with A.J. Brown where he perceives that they're shopping him.
That makes sense. For me in New England, I think the way Kayshon Boutte's been playing, I think he takes a huge hit if they bring in A.J. Brown. I think he's a young guy that I think they see a high ceiling on what he can do in the offense. But, like, when you bring up, like, the Buffalo Bills, like, I look at that and I say, I could see that. I could see. But then on the other hand, I'm like, well, they just had Stephon Diggs, and all they've raved about is everybody eats this kind of system where Josh Allen drops back, whoever's open. So I always think of, again, and I think I've talked to A.J. Brown. I've sat down with him. I've talked to him since he was a rookie. I think the guy's been unbelievable. It seems like a good teammate, does all the right things, but you can't help but see and hear all the different things of, like, well, he might not be happy. This has a lot to do. Like, so when I start to hear those things, I think teams get a little worried about, hey, we have this system. We have to know our system can handle this. So as I mentioned Kayshon Boutte, I do think Mike Vrabel's a guy who would walk away and say, our system handles this. I know this guy personally. I don't know, do the Colts say, hey, we have all of these weapons in here. Do they say our system handles this and we can take, like, that's what I get worried about. And, you know I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I do, like, from my time being in New England, and I know it's not Bill Belichick, there is a thought that, like, this culture, and I think Vrabel believes in his culture and what he does. Shoot, they didn't start Christian Barmore Sunday because of whatever happened. They didn't go into it. But, like, that's a culture type of thing. You're one of our highest paid players on our team. You did something we don't approve of. I'm sitting you. I'm never going to talk about it, but I'm sitting you. And I think that kind of culture, it is a let's trade for a big name receiver because we can handle it type of culture. So if it happened, it wouldn't shock me. But I don't know, maybe Kayshon Boutte would be a part of that. I don't know how it would work out. But I do see that kind of feeling that they would be able to handle that.
They've handled Diggs, and there was never any indication that A.J. Brown was an issue when Mike Vrabel was his head coach. Now, maybe it's because the Titans are a team that we don't follow like the Eagles, but I think it would work if the Eagles would do it, and I think they would do it if they get an offer that they regard as sufficiently big to not say no to.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.